Temple of the Way of Light Ceremony 3 Retrospective email. This was the most important and amazing experience so far for me. My stomach is so much better than I felt I may only suffer minor discomfort, mostly right, as my lower back was the focus for tonight, stiff and painful. After the Aya brew, there is a distinct period when the lamps are removed and a long silence follows where the shamans appear to be reading everybody, their fears, pain, trauma, needs, etc. It can also be that they're actually tuning in themselves to the spiritual level after they've taken ayahuasca to get communication with the plant spirits. The visuals became intense quite quickly, and I sensed and saw a massive, multi-dimensional, multicolored, fractal octopus-like entity enter the Maloka. This is all inside your head, by the way. It's not. There's a big confusion here for most people between LSD, mushrooms, type external visual hallucination experiences. Ayahuasca and San Pedro are not like that. They're inside the head, although you can still have external hallucinations that are more just flashing lights with ayahuasca if you open your eyes to go for the toilet, for example, and it's really strong. So just really need to clarify that, because people, there is no comparison between LSD, mushroom type visual hallucinations, and ayahuasca internal visual hallucinations, just so that's clear. So this fractal octopus basically is obviously a visual inside of my head when you're lying down with your eyes shut. Very powerful it was too. So the fractal octopus-like entity entering the Maloka, almost smothering everyone as it slowly, meticulously probed everyone inside with its infinite depth appendages, each made of smaller, distinct, different fractal beings. An initial sense of fear, very strong in my poor, abused intestines, made me ask if this being was here to gather info or feed off all the negative energy of us sick folk. I got no answer, but also questioned the smaller beings, animalesque but utterly alien, if they felt sad at what humans are doing to themselves, each other, and nature. One morphing creature seemed to show a partial expression of sadness, though others morphed into dragon-like mouths of pointy fractal teeth. The showing of fangs is consistent in my vision, so I'm always confused as to whether it's a threat to me or a reflection of my own well-controlled anger potential to others, or an attempt to make me act on it confrontationally. Of course, I never allow myself to go there using the same willpower I always have in real life to prevent violent escalation. The Icaros were merciless tonight, all four shamans opening the spiritual doorway sufficiently wide to make all in the Maloka paralyzed or panicked with fear. I don't know what anyone else perceived, but the round of puking by most seemed an indication that most were pushed to their tolerance limits. I couldn't feel where my fear began, as it was swamped by everyone else's. I'm so curious about these entities. I never want them to go as the visions start to fade. So many questions. My most vivid experience was from a male shaman shuffling over to me and singing. As I moved from lying to sitting at the end of the mat to receive my song, I smelled something burning, but it wasn't a mapacho cigarette, but not flesh either. As he sang this quieter, low-range, probing Icaro, I saw a pointy, petal-shaped flower appear to my closed eyes, but the points of the petals had sinuous octopus tentacle structure, extending, moving in a swaying motion, feeling its way toward me as if divining my very physical and spiritual essence. Then this flower changed into the head of a Chinese-style dragon, with a hint of feeling toward what a Buddhist or Shaolin monk may experience in their journeys. It then breathed the fire of the intensity of a jet engine, and I was totally consumed in the blast. I felt no pain, but a sense of separation of body and spirit. A brief imagination of being a Templar knight, possibly being burned at the stake for some unknown reason. Then a thought of me, Bianca, and David. David was the facilitator at Capitari with us who experienced the exorcism, and he wasn't on ayahuasca, but he knew what was going on. Then I thought of me, Bianca, and David in some past time, traveling and laughing together. I remembered my dowsing trials on the train back to Cusco, amusing Bianca when she was on the phone, when our train broke down for an hour, asking if she had been a white witch in a past life for a joke. When she asked quickly, smiling, "Did they burn me?" I replied, "No." When the second shaman arrived, His Icaro cut me wide open emotionally. He showed me how much I loved Bianca after our intense experiences at Capitari, which I'd already practically dismissed after our parting in Lima. The tears flooded as I remembered what we experienced at Capitari, our shared travel experiences and conversations when traveling the sites of the Sacred Valley. After this Icaro, I sobbed quietly at how much emotion I'd experienced at Capitari for all the people I'd loved in my life, past relationships, dead friends, and family, but mostly for the experience of light and unconditional love that Bianca had been a catalyst for during the exorcisms of Jack, and that my special connection to Bianca, because of those experiences, should never be forgotten due to the uniqueness of our demon ridden experience. I felt really calm, healed, and content after, as the Aya ceremony was almost over, as the visuals had faded. The only experience of consequence left was to share in an empathic, supportive hug with everyone else in the group for emotionally tortured Mary Martha, whose sobbing was totally inconsolable. What that girl has experienced in her 25 years is anyone's guess. Brackets. In later sharing circles, she told us of her mother and sister with borderline personality disorder. She had only mentioned on the first sharing day that she cannot emotionally connect with people, so form relationships with anyone, but not why, which for a pretty girl must be a major burden. It was nice to see her smile and laugh with others at breakfast the next day. Most people are emotionally guarded here so far, so none of the expected hugs have happened yet, maybe due to the level of darkness that first timers have experienced so far in initial cleansing that is still being processed. The temple process is a good one, and the rules of silence and non interaction are well thought out for good reason integration. Everyone has to process and heal in their own way first. Friendships are secondary at this point halfway through. I hope all will get a glimpse of the light I was fortunate enough to experience at Kapatari by the end.